at 6 o'clock, this stand with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. We've got minutes from February 4th. Dedicated to review. All in favor? Aye.
That's one in, let's walk together.
So we've got Katie Wood-Hedberg here, and Katie is, you're the new Grafton County?
I'm the new Grafton, I'm Katie Wood-Hedberg. I'm the new Grafton County Commissioner, and I just wanted to come to a select board meeting to introduce myself and make sure everyone had my card, so you'd know how to reach me if anything came up, and ask any, if you had any questions, concerning what really, or just so you could see my face.
Great.
And know that I'm here and I work with all the towns. And really, that's it. I just want yeah, absolutely. So, the county commissioner is really very much, it's like the select board of the county. We have 3 commissioners. Each commissioner, is elected by district, and we're District 3, so it goes from here up to Warren and down to Bristol. It's 17 towns, so it's big. And we, very much like you, but we oversee what goes on at the county. We have the nursing home, the Department of Corrections, the sheriff's office, the county attorney. We have a farm. We're the last county in New Hampshire that has a working farm. And of course, there's the various programs within each of those areas. So, the one thing we're working on, we're looking for, I mean, there's many things going on, but if any of you have been to North Haverhill, the courthouse was built in the early 1970s and has all of the very worst of 1970s architecture, including no insulation and single pane glass. So we're in the midst of a study to look to build a new one. It also houses the county attorney and the sheriff and probation and parole. It's not just a court building, and it's a county building, even though it's state courts that are in there. So we're in the middle of that, and that's one of the big things.
Great. Thanks for coming in. Anybody have any questions for Katie? Great, thank you. We have an update on Bishop legal fees.
Yeah, we received the release from the claim that Anthony Bishop made regarding the legal fees associated with the Sears property, which is the property that we sold at tax sale. But there were a lot of procedural issues that had to be corrected, and there were attorney's fees. And Primex has settled the case with the Bishops for $3,190. It didn't come out of the town's function, but it did come from our insurance company due to our errors. But I just wanted to make sure we had that update.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify, when you say our, that didn't include any of.
No, our is the collective town residents. Whenever we talk about our, it's not individuals, we represent the town, the town's error. Apologize for that.
Thanks, Jen. And then Gary Webb versus Town of Keenan update.
Yep, that was, we had received the complaint about mid-January.
Yep.
I think it was last week. We actually were served with the actual suit with a preliminary injunction hearing for February 28th, that the attorneys will be attending only. We don't need to be there. It's actually a procedural issue. And based on the 2 types of claims that are made, one is the claim that the town did a taking of land, which they did not. But they wanted an injunction to take some sort of action immediately. but they're also making monetary claims related to that, which means that there is no injunctive relief necessary because they have an alternative means of or fixing the problem, so this should correct itself. And then Primex has also accepted defending the portion that has monetary damages included. So they're doing that one count, and then our attorney is doing the rest of it. So just wanted, that's another.
We have an update on the surveys being done.
We're just, with the weather, we're just waiting
Yeah.
for the ability to go do them.
Okay. All right. And Goose Pond, we've got an update, figure out what we're doing there now.
Yeah, so I'm Charlie Grumman, the DES Dam Bureau, and with me, we have Michael's the contractor that's performing the work out there. I don't know if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Jamie Tomaselli. Okay,
Thomas Camp, product super.
actually, today we put in one of the lower gates. It's actually moving, so tomorrow we'll go after the second one, Thursday we'll go after the third one. Next week, we got the representative who fabricated the gates, they're coming in, so they'll check our work, make sure everything is good, and then hopefully the week after, grout everything, pressure test it. Once that's done, we can throw out the buffer dam, start filling the lake up, so.
Great.
Hopefully by the first week of March, maybe the second, we'll start filling the dam back up. As we speak, we're also backfilling the slopes, with the embankment and sand, so.
Is that all
Hopefully,
new material you're putting on the backfill there, or is it?
we're bringing new sand in, we're bringing some select backfill in, we're also using what we also dug out, so. Yeah, we're trying to use what we can that,
Right.
not have to waste it.
Yeah, so we also wanted to touch base with the town. It sounds like there might be a new road agent. And we're coming up on posting load
Yeah.
limits and such, and. Right now, well, based on the contract, the substantial completion date is May 2nd and final is May 15th, so. Yeah, I just wanna, bridge that relationship, see if there's possibilities of waivers, or it depends on what type of equipment you guys need to get out of there, but. Yeah, see what kind of options there are.
Right. Yeah, we can certainly talk to Bob. I mean, like I said, it's anybody's guess when we're gonna start, having issues with the roads for frost coming out, so. I mean, It's been cold this year.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be tied to the frost, and I think we're gonna have a little longer than we normally
Yeah, yeah.
would. The way it's been going.
That's what we're working for too.
The reality is, cause one time I was redoing a bridge and we went out and dug test pits in May. And there was still frost in the ground, so I mean, like, when it gets driven as deep as I'm sure it's driven right now with under the road section, it'll probably be there for a while, but. Basically, yes, there is the ability to get waivers, and we can do it where, okay, it's a good day to.
Yeah, that's how I
frost
was
day
working with
and
road
it-
agent
and
last
It's gonna
year.
be soft and we just wanna make sure we don't do too much damage to sub base, that's all. So we can work together, but we'll just try to. My hope is you'll have it all the way through March and then into April, it'll be kind of hit and miss would be my guess, but. We could also have a complete turn and turn the mud season in 2 weeks.
Extended forecast doesn't have us out of the thirties for the next couple of weeks, which is good for that.
True story.
I mean, it'd be nice to see it. A nice gradual pull anyway, but,
Yeah, we should do it.
How close are you to your planned completion?
We're shooting for,
No, I know what you just said with completion. I don't remember what the original. plan-
well, we were supposed to be a lot further ahead, but we had cofferdam issues, bypass errors. I mean, could go on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have majority of the trucking done, like you said, we're hoping by like the second week of March, all the big machines are out. All the materials, and the only thing we have to bring in is topsoil, but that's gonna be closer to completion date.
Yeah, unless something dramatically changes, I don't necessarily see that as a problem. But,
Yeah.
the hope is, we'll just let's make sure we have the communication open and we'll go from there.
Great. We passed in the pre-construction survey and video that Michael's performed of the road. So just, make us aware if there's any issues or any.
Yeah, realistically, I probably wouldn't even comment on that till mid to late May, like when we can see if it's actually moved or anything. There's gonna be no way to know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we will have to take a look at that.
Okay.
By the way, we need at least a half of the road repaved, but that's okay.
That's what we're worried about.
maybe I'm past the dam.
Any questions to these guys? No. All right, you good? All right, thank you for coming in, let us know what's going on, and where you're at. Thank you. Finance,
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an update, because I know when I started last year, I had talked to Ann about, giving me a kind of a status of where tax collections were and things like that, and the revenues. So I went through with, Carrie Ann, looking at the regular revenues that budgeted revenues, non-tax revenues. And given that we had budgeted for $250,000 plus or minus of money that was coming from from delinquent tax collections, which typically doesn't happen. We still were able to end up with about a $43,000 in the black revenue side. So our revenues did very well in spite of that piece that we really weren't gonna collect. But the interesting news, which really comes to when we talk about things like undesignated fund balances and things like that. Currently, from a tax collection perspective, we are $661,000 short of what we billed for taxes. We still have $661,000 in taxes to collect. As it stands today. Last year, that number was $765.
okay,
So it's pretty standard, but when you think about the terms of cash flow. Our payment to the school is just over $800,000.
yeah,
That's a whole school payment that we're holding, and. My guess is we're gonna collect another 400 or so of that. But we always end up with like 150 or 200,000. It's kind
Yeah.
of sitting out there, so to be able to handle. These kind of fluctuations, I will be bringing in one of the next two meetings, we'll be bringing the tax anticipation note. To try and get that updated again, because we are gonna need that funding, because, besides this, we also have. The fact that we're gonna need to carry about $300,000. For the engineering on the Potato Road project, because. We have to do all of the engineering through the preliminary process. To get to the final, before we can actually collect, so the next January is when we'd be able to get our 80% back. But we are gonna have to just carry that,
right,
so. That's just some information as to where we're sitting today. No real finance report until we go through the vote, so that we know which we can import the budget that we have that goes back to January 1, then we'll know where we are first quarter on April 1st. So other than that, that's what we're sitting on. So, under the town administrators update.
Did you skip one?
No,
we're not gonna do the private funding. No.
Perfect, thank you,
it actually got, we are not able, we no longer qualify.
thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Right, thank you.
So under. Basically, we have an HEB agreement modification, it's for $5,300, it's basically when we sent, in November, we sent the preliminary design. Information to the state.
Yep.
This is to get us through that process, it's another $5,000. Which is part of the, the bigger project, but once they get through that meeting, then we'll get another agreement modification to move through to actual design.
Right,
So this is basically the state reviewing our budgeting and things like that, and seeing if they agree with everything, so that we know how we're moving forward.
great.
So I need authorization to sign that.
Need a motion for that? All in favor? Aye.
Also in your packet, I included a community action report from the state. Which is basically our assessment evaluation that I had received. Right about beginning of February, and it talks about. Our weighted mean ratio, our coefficient of dispersion is 41.46. And our ratio for the CLA is 66.7, which means we are off by 33% on our assessed values at this time. Which is why the state is now in this language recommending versus requiring, which would be the language. An early reappraisal, which we have on the ballot this year to see if we can raise the additional money to do that. And we will see what that.
You said
comes
they're
out.
requesting now and not requiring? They're requiring.
They changed it to requesting from requiring, so. We're now just putting it to the voter, another $28,000 that both
Yeah.
the budget committee and the select board voted not to recommend.
Right,
And we do it on the currently scheduled year, which will be 26,
right.
so. In addition, FEMA reimbursement for the July of 23 storm event. We just actually got funded about 2 weeks ago, the 72,000 and change that we were looking for, so. We have recovered 72 of, I believe, 98,000 was the original expense, so we've been made whole with that, and that closes that event.
Are there any open events?
No, I believe we closed them all. I think we hit, because the couple of them, we couldn't argue
Yeah.
the determinations, and then we let those go. And this should be the last one, so I think we're actually at ground zero right now with that.
Great.
And my final item. We've had since 2010, we've had what do they call it? Revenue Recovery Service Agreement for the ambulance service, EMS. It is being recommended, and I will have the contract in the next couple of days that we change who we're going to. It's a much more local company. And the company we're dealing with isn't able to both react or provide the detailed information that we're looking for in our reports, and also do everything electronically. So it means we will no longer, except for a few personal check and payments, we will no longer have to have somebody running manual checks and collecting hundreds of checks that were coming even from them as part of the process. So everything will become much more seamless, better information, and they're actually a New Hampshire-based company. So I'll be bringing that to you shortly, but yeah, we're looking to make that change.
Did they approach us or did you go to them?
We approached them.
And do you
We
have,
actually went out and we interviewed 3.
do you have the name, just?
I was just thinking of that, and I am drawing a blank. I apologize, I didn't write it down next to my notes, but we'll be bringing the agreement and things like that, so for the future, but that's the plan, is to move to that. It's the same 8% fee. There's really no change in the net result. The one thing they did point out is first,
Well, if you're gonna have somebody doing manual stuff, then it's.
yeah, we'll like,
There.
yeah, a lot of the work we had to do manually will not be necessary going forward. But in addition, it appears that we haven't modified our rates for like more than 5 years. We've been charging $750 for the pickups for a long time. And the average right now is up closer to 1,500. And even if we were at 11 or 1,200.
Yeah.
We'd be more in line with the thing. So we're gonna be reviewing all of those.
On transports or just on emergency service?
Emergencies. Transports, we're getting paid the going rate for that, except that now with our new training program is we're gonna be working, we're gonna be able to move up to a paramedic version, which means that we will be able to charge a higher rate because of the kind of, and it's not from every transport, but we'll be able to take certain transports that pay a lot. As a result, and as it stands right now, the EMS transport things are actually funding the whole program, and I think we're looking at, and we're still turning 2 to 3 away a day because we don't have enough staffing. So hopefully we're gonna be able to find a balance where
Yeah.
we can start maximizing that and paying more of the bills.
Great.
And that is all I have.
The numbers for the transports are coming in so steadily. Do you think those numbers will reach a point where by the end of the year, we'll be able to add another position?
We believe, well, it is the belief, and actually when we brought it last year and Carrie Ann talked about it, we said we could have done 2 at that time, because we were actually, when we pay out the hours. We're doing basically 6.5 FTEs, and we currently have 3 with the new one.
Yeah.
So we could afford that, and once we get this in place, but we wanted to get the new billing shifted over, we're in this transition, making sure. All the monies are hitting, we actually today just got our drugs back from Hitchcock, so we're back full
Okay.
fully stocked, like, we're making a lot of progress, and I think what I had asked the EMS to do is to provide a kind of a business plan as of April 1st. We can look at the first quarter and see how this trend has been going for the last little bit, and I think we can then make some decisions at that point.
Right. If we can find some.
Applicant that we did not hire for that full-time position, we talked about offering them a per diem. Did they accept that?
I have not heard specifically whether they accepted it or not. I know he was working on that, but I don't know where that stands at this time. But we are slowly starting to pick up a little bit of staff, even on, on the per diem side, so the hope is we don't wait, like, if we can make this decision sooner than later, maybe some of those people are still available, because we had three of the four we would have taken in a heartbeat. So.
Great. That's exciting news, actually. Monica, you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we've had some inquiries, people have been requesting the Boston Post cane again. So I'm reamping we're gonna try to rename it, call it the cane, is what we're gonna call it, and make it our own. So Mr. Shin from the high school is willing to be able to have the students make the cane for individuals to be able to keep. So we don't have to ask for the cane after they're passing. We're gonna
So
keep,
we'll keep one symbolic one and then.
yeah, so we're gonna keep the original cane
Yeah.
in the office,
Right.
and put their name plaque under the cane. So there's a copy of the draft of the application. Based on what other towns are doing, it's pretty much, the same, so kind of kept it the same. Copy?
Well, we need one, so.
Mine looks okay.
Ah, good, okay, good.
It's and so how are you doing? Are you doing it by the oldest resident?
Yes,
Okay. And
Yes.
once a year or just as they come?
as they come in,
Okay.
they have to submit the application for it.
They do?
Yes, so I have not been able to find any kind of prior arrangements or agreements, in the past, how they've done it, so.
Great work on this. I want one chance to read through it though, but.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a program that's been around for years, many towns. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The oldest resident of the town received the Boston Post cane. But that is at times, depending on family ties, getting it back was the problem.
right, so this way they are able to keep the cane. The last reported was back in '06.
Really?
Was the last one that was reported, yeah. Yeah,
I especially like the collaboration with the school.
yes,
Because for a number of years, Canaan didn't have the best relationship with their school district, so anything that we can do to start or to help, not start, but.
he's very
Continue to
excited
rebuild
to
that.
get the kids involved. The Lions Club is also willing to do the little plaque at the end of the cane too, so.
Nice.
Little engraver, yeah.
And the Lions Club would be a good source of information between them and the senior center as far as figuring out who the eldest might be.
Yes. Yeah, so I attached an application this time so that those can be filled out.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The application.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
You're welcome.
And do you have an update on our website yet? Maybe since I got you.
I didn't bring the info, but I believe it's May, first week of May, I think we're looking at
To go live.
to go live. Yes, yeah,
One other new business thing.
Yeah.
We received a letter from the Mascoma Valley Preservation Group, expressing their interest in purchasing the B&M freight shed. And they want to do some renovations and things. There's a lot of things to talk about. That was, became town owned just through a tax sale or through a tax lien.
Yeah.
And there would be processes we have to go through related to that. As far as the town's net keep of the property of the money, it's only what the taxes are owed and interest and everything. That goes back to like 2014. And there's,
Where we own it free and clear.
no, we own it free and clear today. If somebody were to buy it,
No,
they,
I get that, I just wanna make sure it's not.
So on that ruling where the previous owner gets above and beyond what they owed, is there statute of limitations on that?
I do not believe so, but I will, I just had a preliminary discussion with the attorney about it a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of things we'd have to address, and also the fact of, you know, the town would own the adjacent property, and how are we gonna use it, and does the town, you know, what is the long-term use, and how do those things work? So there's quite a few things to go through, but it's just we got the formal request, we had a verbal conversation a while ago, and this is the formal request getting here, so we'll start the process.
Okay. Perfect. Any other business? Bob?
I'm sure it's posted somewhere, but can you share now that we're past the registration period? How many and who registered for select board? To run for select board?
You're looking at.
That's the only one?
Just the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think your odds are?
I'm gonna lose.
I got my answer. Was anybody running against you? That's what I wanted.
Tom, what's you saying about that?
Oh, there are only two ways to run, scared and unopposed.
Yeah.
In Steven's case, he's doing both.
Scared for different reasons.
Thank you.
We do have a meet the candidate nights coming up.
Jared, you have something, you don't usually show up, so
What?
I said, you don't usually show up, so you have something you wanna bring up, or?
Nobody wants to hear it, so I ain't gonna say a word. Talk to you guys.
What it is here.
Gave you this.
Yeah.
I give you the list,
Yeah, you want just.
and that ain't all, but that's all right.
You want just briefly, I spoke to him, he came to me a while ago about the condition of the road tractor and work that it needs, so I
Yeah.
asked him to give us a list of the truck and that trailer
Okay,
of what it's going to need for repairs, because unfortunately, so much of this was band-aided or neglected.
You really want me to tell them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the lift axle on the back is chained up. Nothing works on that lift axle, brakes or nothing. Nothing, I ain't got nothing underneath that trailer. All the slack adjusters are frozen. No brakes at all. And I can't put it down because I got nothing else. Cosella's raping me enough now, I can't afford to have one of their trailers.
Isn't that your
I'm
license?
being frank, I'm sorry. I'm simple, and that's just the way I feel.
That's your license, I just would say, no, I'm not driving it, but why,
Well, we don't get nothing for the recycle. Now I got 2 cans and have them take once a month. My overflow. I just don't know what to do anymore.
well, so I would say let us worry about that, but as the select board member, my opinion is if the truck is not safe, do not put your license and yourself at risk, and I would drive it.
Well, the truck is fine. The truck will stop on a dime.
You know, then we fixed the truck, the trailer is now the
The
problem.
trailer, I have a problem.
We got the truck, it took a while to get the truck fixed, that's done.
I
Now
see
we're on the
people in
trailer.
the back in construction nodding their head in agreement.
Behind the wheel, you assume all of us.
Her statement still stands.
And I'm not in disagreement, this is like, I didn't know the trailer had gotten to
I
that
did not
point, so.
realize.
Well,
Usually they're
Chained
fixed,
up the
they say.
tag
They're
axle,
gonna be-
so I barely connected it, changed it up, and put it fixing the air.
That's not a language that I think, but it doesn't sound good.
No.
So I don't know.
Very
Yeah.
good truck.
No, you're lugging around added what's still usable.
So what's the solution?
The short-term solution is we're gonna have to talk to Casella and get something else there, and then see about what's about with the trailer.
Is it possible rent trailer? We can look into that.
And there's nobody at the town garage that'll work on it or fix it, or can fix it, so. My hands are tied.
So the issue becomes, that's a live bottom trailer. They're not readily available, and we might have to go a little different, I don't know, that's what we'll have to find out.
See, because that's.
'Cause I didn't hear it just-
Got your compactor door on it, it's
Right.
not just a standard like bottom, it's got the compactor door for loading.
So we will be addressing that tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Jared. Do you have anything?
Well, it's getting to the point where I don't know what to do anymore, and
Well, you should never get to that point, Jared.
Well,
You never
oh,
come here and think you're gonna get fired, you can bring us news like that.
No, I don't worry about that. If you find somebody to replace me tomorrow, let me know, I'll train them.
Now you're fired.
Fine, funny, I'm leaving.
No.
Thank you, JR.
Huh?
Is there anything else for us?
No, not real. Got a little problem with one man, but that's beside the
That's,
point.
we're working on that. too.
Yeah,
Can't talk about that here.
right,
No.
yeah.
We're working.
Everybody's got that problem, right?
That's it.
My wife does.
Right, any other business?
I'm the guy.
I said, just refresh my memory where we left off with the Switch Road Bridge. Is that on hold? The one that is below the floodplain? Was there any action? that was
Switch Road
done?
Bridge?
Switch road.
Yeah, you know, the wood bridge, I'm sorry, not Switch Road.
Potato Road?
Road. Yeah, I'm tired.
Oh, like, okay, I'm not.
Switch Road. Yeah, Potato Road.
Potato Road.
Yeah.
Well,
When
when
we
you,
leave off with that.
well, right now, it is scheduled to be a bridge replacement. Where they're gonna raise the bridge to the proper flood level.
Yep.
In addition, the current grant approves the raising of the entire causeway with one or two large box culverts. To alleviate the pressure, to eliminate the flooding in the whole area.
Okay.
So that is all currently scheduled. I think to be completed in 27,
Okay,
26 or 27.
okay,
It's either late 26 or early 27. We're going through the design phases right now. That's the money I was talking about, the 300,000 we have to do through this winter. To get that hopefully and possibly into 26 to get the bid done early.
Cool.
That's the plan.
so nothing in the next 3 to 6 months or
No,
just design work and,
correct.
got it, cool, thanks.
Anyone else? Motion to go to non-public. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.